Welcome to the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
I'm Dana.
Am I on mute? Was I on
were,
mute?
yeah.
Damn.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
unmute me.
You did all
Messed
you did all the
up.
mix but one.
I think this was blocking my vision, so I didn't see that it was red.
Did you hit it and just not hit it all
I
the way?
guess I didn't. I didn't see it, I don't think.
Streets of Fire, rated PG, with a running time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, released on June 1st, 1984, directed by Walter Hill, who he have dealt with before.
Have we really?
Yes.
Okay.
He directed 48 Hours.
Get the hell out of here.
Yes.
Wow, okay. I guess he had a bigger budget for that.
And he was also a producer on Aliens.
Aliens? The
Aliens,
James
and
Cameron
he was a
one?
producer
Okay.
on Alien 3.
Oh, okay.
And Streets of Fire hit his top 4 as well.
Well, it's a pretty good top 4. Good for him.
The Internet Movie Database description was a mercenary is hired to rescue his ex-girlfriend, a singer who has been kidnapped by a motorcycle gang.
Yes, that's what this movie was about.
Yep.
Taglines here, basically, tonight is what it means to be young. Enter a world where street gangs rule and violence is real. Another time, another place. How about you're about to enter a world unlike any you've ever seen before, where rock and roll is king, where the only law is a loaded gun, where the beautiful, the brutal, and the brave will have the ultimate showdown.
Okay.
I find it funny that they so focus on rock and roll,
It was
like
a rock and roll musical.
fantasy.
This was a rock and roll musical.
Didn't they say rock and roll fantasy or rock and roll
Something like that, yeah.
right? In spelled out on the screen.
Well, right now it says it's a rock fantasy.
Rock fantasy, okay.
Or a rock and roll fable. That was the other one.
Fable,
yes.
that's it, Fable. But like, except for the parts where
This
they
was your
were
favorite, probably.
Except
The
for
bad, the beautiful, the brave, and the music.
I just felt like it wasn't really about rock and roll, except when they were in the club watching her sing.
Yeah.
That was really it.
It says in there where gangs rule and violence is what does it say? Violence is real?
Violence
Gangs
is king.
rule and violence is real.
So violence isn't real everywhere else, just in this fantasy world? That's very
Enter a
weird.
world where street gangs rule and violence is real. Yeah, I guess that
Okay.
doesn't really make
That's
sense.
stupid.
The street gangs rule makes...
Yes.
You could say that, but
Yeah.
yeah, the violence is real. It's like, it's always real.
Yes.
Any type of violence is real.
It's always
Yeah.
real.
It's funny because I didn't think about this movie until you brought it up that we were watching last week, and I was like, what the hell is that?
When you started seeing who
But
the
when
cast
you
was.
started saying things, I'm like, it's all started like coming back. And I don't think I've thought about this movie since I watched it in the 80s, probably like
Yeah, this was
a
like
few
a
times.
high school movie, definitely on VCR at
Yeah.
somebody's house.
But and at one point in the movie, they say, "Oh, we got to send him back to juvie or these juvie punks or something." I'm like, juvie? They're in their late 20s. Like these are full ass adults. Were they
Yeah, they
supposed
never
to be
made it
like?
look like they're
wasn't playing a
kids.
kid.
Yeah, like what the hell are they talking about? These juvenile delinquents? Like they're full-grown adults.
Well, you had Michael Paré playing Tom Cody, who was very much...
I loved him.
He had like...
He's
I
a
don't- he
terrible
was, like-
actor.
He's a terrible actor, but he had
Bad.
he had the looks.
Yes.
That's what got him through. And then he that's why he just fell off because
Now
Yeah.
he's
couldn't.
Eddie from Eddie and the
Eddie and the
Cruisers.
Cruisers.
Now I will admit I saw Eddie and the Cruisers one time. I never
I've
saw
seen
the
it 100
sequel.
times.
And,
I never saw the sequel.
and
don't
I
need
don't
to see
know
the
anything
sequel.
about it. Was he a bad actor in that too?
Probably,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I
that's
was
one of
too
those
young to
movies that
know.
holds. It's one of those movies
Yeah.
that you remember liking, and then you're
Yeah.
like, I don't know if he was bad
The
or not.
songs in that movie are phenomenal.
On the
They're-
dark side?
Yeah, on the
That's the
dark
one
side.
song I know by them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
on the dark side.
There's so many
People
like
used to
just
think that was
great
Bruce
songs.
Springsteen.
I know
He
it
does
more
sound
just
just
because
like
it was
him,
on
yeah.
MTV all the time. They played
Yeah.
that song on MTV.
Yeah.
I don't know it from the movie. I mean, I saw
I
the
remember
movie,
that.
but
Wasn't there like a clap in it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if his acting is bad.
Oh,
or-
it is.
No, I take that back. I want to rephrase the
I was
the
gonna say,
statement.
I know it is.
Is his acting bad because he's a bad actor, or is his acting bad because the direction of this movie? Because
I think-
everybody in this movie was a terrible actor.
He was thinking back now. I don't think I've seen Eddie and the Cruisers in 15 years, and I might be blinded by my love for that movie
That's
from when I
next
was
year.
a
I
kid.
think 85, right?
No, it was a couple years ago.
Do we miss it?
Yeah.
We'll have to bring that up then.
Really? I thought
yeah,
that
we
was like
did.
mid '80s.
No, it was either 82 or 83.
Wow.
Why didn't we do
okay.
it?
We
That's
kept
crazy.
trying because it wasn't streaming anywhere. We looked.
Oh,
We looked
yeah, I
a couple
remember it
times. We
wasn't
couldn't find
showing.
it, and we didn't know about our little hack
It's
before.
83. Yep.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, but
see
I
if
think
it's
he was a
streaming now.
tad better. But he was great because he was lip syncing, obviously, in that movie when he was singing,
Yeah.
and he did a really good job.
It's still
there.
not streaming anywhere.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of movie where, there are people, and I don't want to get ahead of myself with Jason's list, but there are people in this movie that became real actors.
Some of them I thought already were and just
But they
popped out
were-
from behind a
they were
garbage truck or some
terrible.
shit.
Like Willem Dafoe?
No, Ed
were-
Begley.
I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, he was in this movie. I did not
But he
see
was
him in
already
the movie.
famous. This isn't
Also,
the first time we've had
E.G.
him.
Daly shows up real late, too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And Rick Moranis had already done Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like,
I got a good story about him, but I'll tell it.
yeah, I like I said, but everybody in this is a bad actor.
Yeah.
And Michelle pointed out as we're watching this, she's like, Rick Moranis is not a good actor. I'm like, he's not. She's like, no, he's not a good actor. He's a comedian. Like,
Yes,
he's a
and that's
comedic
why
actor.
he was
All
good. He
right.
was great in like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and movies like that because
But he was funny in
he was-
Ghostbusters
he
because he was
didn't
the
need to be
little guy.
serious.
Like,
he
he
was
was
kind of
he was
playing-
great.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he was kind of playing that role in this too, like that
Yeah.
overacting kind of like.
But he was
I'll
playing-
pay you the money, man.
He was
Yeah.
playing more of a he was trying to be more of a badass in this.
Yeah.
Kind of like.
I mean, like a badass that nobody was
Yeah.
threatened
yes,
by.
exactly.
All right, let's see. We got Michael Paré. Do you want to try his? He played Tom Cody. Do you want to try his top four?
I'm gonna go with this and Eddie and the Cruisers.
You didn't get any of that. No, neither one.
No,
Really?
Eddie the Cruisers isn't
No.
in it. I don't even know
It's
this
the
guy's
Virgin
face.
Suicides.
I've heard of that. Never saw it.
Gone. Gone. Hope Floats.
He was in Hope
heard of it.
Floats. I love that movie. I don't
and
remember him in that.
The Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, McConaughey.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know what he was in this.
The movie or the TV show?
I don't know. I'm going to
okay.
say the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, because the TV show was recent,
It's
wasn't
current.
it?
Yeah, I think it's on now.
Is this dude alive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't say dead. I usually tell you if he's
you're right.
dead. Yeah.
He didn't die
I know
of
he didn't die of something.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. This guy, I barely even recognized him as Eddie and the Cruisers when he showed up.
I know his face
Michelle
from
was
that, I
like,
remember,
"Oh, Eddie and
yeah.
the Cruisers." I'm like, "Oh." And by the way, Michelle fell asleep halfway through this movie, so I will not have a score from her.
Tara watch?
Well, she had work today, so I watched it. I was
Okay, you
off.
watched
We
it
watched
today,
this.
yeah.
We watched this after not going to Sublime with Roman. So we got home from that at like 8:30, and I was like, "Oh, I got to watch the movie." She's like, "Okay."
Is that when you texted us last
Yeah.
night? And said,
Yeah.
I was like,
when are we meeting?
"Are we
Monday or
on
Tuesday?
Monday or Tuesday? Because I might need an extra day." But then
No, we wouldn't
I
have been able to do Tuesday because Dana
yeah,
came.
right, you're babysitting. But
I
I watched
actually
it
would
last
have
night.
been home in time probably. I just found out.
I watched it
yesterday.
last night and made martinis, and Michelle was gone like 30 minutes into the movie, so I
Yeah.
will not have a score. But she was very involved early on.
Yeah.
Like, there's somebody in this that I don't even want to spoil it yet. But
Oh,
she was,
I have a story about someone too.
All right, I'm guessing it's not
And I
Diane
hope-
Lane, right?
No.
So we'll go to her
Wait.
first. Ellen Aim was played
is
by.
is this the wait?
I'm doing the cast.
Yeah, but we did just
We
the
did
guy.
Michael
We only
Paré.
done one so far.
I don't
Yeah.
even know his real name. The guy.
Diane
guy,
Lane
Eddie.
played Ellen Aim, and we've seen her before in the Outsiders. We
sure.
saw her.
She's
Yep.
Cherry.
She looks so.
She looked good
It
in
was
this.
hard, she did. It was hard for me trying to picture what she looks like in movies I know her
Other
from
things.
like the
This
late
movie
90s.
felt
or
like
something.
they did something with the coloring where everybody looked a little
Grayish.
washed out.
It's not remastered. I feel
Except
like that's
for
the
when they
problem.
were
It
in
needs to be
that one town where it was like everyone was wearing neon instead of
yeah.
like the gray. But yeah, when they got there, I was like, oh my god, color, because
even, like,
everyone
I-
else was
I kept
washed
thinking,
out.
Even
like,
pictures like online, like a lot of them are blurry just because it's a blurry
Yeah.
picture because it's not remastered. There's
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's on Blu-ray. It might not even be
Probably
on
not.
Blu-ray.
I kept thinking of like Sin City when I was watching this because that's in black and white,
Yes.
but with like hints of
Hints of
color
color,
in it.
yeah.
And I felt like as I'm watching this, I'm like, I'm
The
thinking
colors
of
are very
Sin City.
dull in this, right?
Yeah.
Everything was
Yeah.
muted. That's
Yeah,
it.
Muted's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
And that
But,
was on the Very Movie podcast.
Yes.
The muted colors.
We're artists. We know things like that. I went to art school.
Speaking of art school, you got to write a new logo for us.
Oh yeah, you got to do that so I can get the.
Well, I dropped out,
You
so I
saw mine.
can't finish. I dropped out of art school, so sorry.
We're going to use that,
That
logo
one?
that you
We're
drew,
gonna use
but
that one?
it's
All
cut
right.
off.
I
That's
know.
the only
Well,
thing.
I-
we'll
The
take a
other
better
one we
picture
did
of
was
it.
like that.
Okay, I thought we wanted maybe something a little classier.
But if we're, I think we need to do it, and we need to do it now. We
Okay.
don't need to be sitting around fooling around
All
with
right,
it. I mean,
I'll take another picture tomorrow. It's sitting on my
Okay.
desk still.
I'm ready. She's ready to make stickers and shit like that. So. Unless you're coming up with something great, what's the symbol that you would put? There's nothing that you can
Not
really think
symbol,
of.
I just
Or
thought maybe
drawing
something.
that you can think of. That what are you going to draw? Us better? I mean, that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, you
No, it's
could have
fine.
made my hair look a little nicer. But
Okay, I'll
that's
make your hair
all
look a
right.
little nicer.
Do you want a
That's
curl
okay.
on it? Like maybe at the end?
Yeah, can you do a little curl, please? Some little squigglies.
Diane Lane was also Martha Kent in
Yeah.
Man of Steel and
Didn't
Justice
make
League.
it.
No,
Didn't make it. No.
Oh,
Unfaithful
Under the
made
Tusk.
it.
That movie was so good.
Wait, which one?
Unfaithful.
Which one? I don't know that.
Diane
She's
Lane.
her Richard Gere, I think, is her husband. She's cheating on him, And I guess he finds out whatever, and it goes back and forth. I really like that movie.
She was cheating on Richard Gere because he had a thing going on with the gerbil.
Wait, have we done Richard Gere yet? I feel like we need to discuss Richard Gere.
I don't think we have.
We didn't do Officer and Gentleman because I was like, that's no fun.
That's too sappy.
Yeah.
Then his next one would probably be Pretty Woman. So 89.
We'll have to do that one, and if we can get your mom to come
Oh
on
my
for that.
God. She hates Jason Alexander. She'll be like, I fucking hate that guy. He tried
It's
to rape
her
Pretty Woman.
other movie, Under the Tuscan Sun.
Under
Is
the
that on
Tuscan
that?
Sun's on there, yes.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
Oh
I've
my
heard
God.
of it, but
So good. She
I don't know
just
that
goes
one
to
either,
live in
yeah.
Italy, and it's just amazing.
Outsiders is in there, and then Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Oh,
I don't know,
is
it
it the cartoon one?
or the Pixar?
It could be the Pixar one, yeah.
Oh,
I think that's when
is she in that?
Well, do you have
She
people
might
like
be a
Diane
voice,
Lane? I
yeah.
was like, that's Diane Lane's voice. I wouldn't
I
catch
would
Diane
never-
Lane's voice.
It's so funny
never
you should
catch
say
her
that because
voice.
when we were driving home last night, Logan was talking about this game that his psych teacher used to do where it's an image of a celebrity upside down and you're supposed to like guess who it is, and Logan, being who Logan is, knew everyone.
That sounds like a fun game.
And
Yeah.
people were like, we don't even know who that person is, and Logan knows who Morgan Freeman is, or
Yeah.
or like Marlon Brando,
Yeah.
and Logan knew it. But then he started doing one with voices. There's a voice thing, like which celebrity is this?
Oh, you just hear
by
them
their
saying
by their
something.
voices. I got like Michael Caine and some other British guy, Ewan McGregor, but like you play a clip of like Amy Adams talking in an interview.
You don't
Yeah.
know.
You're
it, yeah.
not getting that. You're
Some
just
voices
like,
you're going to get. Some you're not.
But like
gonna get.
Diane Lane, I
I
don't
like-
know. I don't know what she sounds
No.
like.
I
I
was
wouldn't
thinking-
be able to pick her voice
I
out.
don't think it's a soft-spoken voice. I would think.
like I
But
don't
you know
even
whose voice
Yeah.
I would be able to pick out? Willem Dafoe's. Him,
yes.
I would have been able to pick out.
I'd also be able to pick out Rick Moranis. I
Yes.
think.
I'd also be able to pick out a better pair of overalls.
God
for
damn,
Willem
those
Dafoe.
overalls were awesome. Those overalls.
Or were they waders like you wear when
it
you're-
looked like
when
you
you're
were
fishing?
waders.
We'll get the
with no
Billy.
shirt.
We'll get the Billum. Hold on.
Willem.
Rick Moranis played Billy Fish.
And his tuxedo or whatever, the suit, the checkered suit with the bow tie.
And he was just a badass for no reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
he was,
He was a
just saying,
tough-
like,
he was, like,
"Screw
trying to be a
you,"
tough
kinda
guy.
He's
like,
got
for
to
no
keep
reason.
his girlfriend. I mean, there's got to be a lot of competition for
True.
her, for him. You know
Well,
what I mean?
there's got to be a lot of competition because, as Michelle pointed out halfway through this movie, she's like, "You know what's wrong with this movie? There are no good-looking people in this movie." I was like,
Diane
Diane
Lane.
Lane. I was like, Diane Lane's good-looking. She's like, "Yeah."
William
And
Peretti.
Michael
She's just-
Perry, or
Michael
what do you
Perry.
say?
Well,
He
I
was
guess Michelle
very
didn't like
good-looking.
her. Michelle didn't
crazy.
like her.
Michelle doesn't like any females. We know
She
that.
doesn't like.
Yeah.
But she admitted that she's like, yeah, Diane Lane's pretty, but
There's also another pretty person in this. I'll get to her. I'm not yet. But
Okay.
First, we do Rick Moranis, Parenthood, Spaceballs, Ghostbusters, and Strange Brew. So
Okay.
we've seen him a few times.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is our third movie with him
yep.
based on that.
Amy Madigan, McCoy. She played McCoy.
She was awesome. I loved her.
Yeah.
She was the best character in this
She
whole
was
thing.
in Uncle Buck,
Yeah.
Okay.
Streets of Fire, Field of Dreams, and Gone Baby Gone.
Yep.
Then we had
She was the wife in Field
Yeah.
of Dreams, right? Kevin
Was she really?
Costner's wife.
I didn't recognize her
no.
as somebody I knew, but
I did,
And
and
I've seen
I
most of those
scrolled
movies.
through her IMDb because I swore I knew her
didn't
from
remember her
something,
from
but it
Uncle
was
Buck?
nothing in there.
I think she was the mom in Uncle
was
Buck,
she?
right?
Okay.
I don't
Well, they're
remember.
not in it a lot, the
Yeah.
parents, because obviously he's babysitting.
Yeah. Up next was Raven, played by Willem Dafoe.
Okay.
You were just talking about him. You liked his
His
outfit,
his
right?
outfit was phenomenal. Yeah, that's great.
his top four. The Lighthouse,
Did he
Oh,
just
I
get
heard that was
nominated
really
for that?
good, right?
The Florida Project. I heard that was really
Never
good too.
heard of the Florida Project.
That was a few years back.
Sounds familiar.
It was like about Florida, something in Florida, housing in Florida or
It would
something.
have
I
been
think.
fucked up
okay.
if it was about like Nebraska.
Or maybe not even about the state.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's just
Yeah.
like Streets. I mentioned At Eternity's Gate and Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
I mean,
This
that's
is
a kind of a. I mean, I guess Lighthouse for sure, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a. I think of Willem Dafoe, and I'm like, man, that guy's like been
Well,
so
he
many
was in
great
Poor
things.
Things recently too, right?
Yes, yes, that's right.
That's right.
He's
Yeah.
great in that too.
Up next, Reva was played by Deborah Van Valkenburg. I think she's beautiful. She was she was the daughter
Jackie.
on
She was in one of the daughters.
Jackie
Yeah.
and,
Yep,
Too Close for Comfort.
She was in The Warriors.
Oh, okay.
You may remember her from The Warriors. She was in one episode of Quantum Leap. Can you tell me how many episodes of Too Close for Comfort Deborah Van Valkenburg was in?
160.
That's a 6-season 20.
He died when they were filming it.
Oh, the
Ted
dad.
Knight.
Yeah.
Jim J. Bullock was in that, right?
Yeah. But he
Without
wasn't
the I.
early on. He was
It
later on.
JM.
Oh, was
a name
it?
like that back then, yeah.
I'm gonna
I
say-
want him to come to like a
I'm going to say
chiller. I would see it.
120.
Okay, so there was a total of 129 episodes. She was in 107 of them.
Nice.
She did a good amount.
I'm surprised she wasn't in all of them because everything took place in that house.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a final season. She might because
Oh,
the
did she
final
leave?
season, both kids are gone. They go to they work for that
okay.
newspaper together
Oh.
or whatever. Yeah,
I remember the blonde in
I'm a
that was
completist.
being very hot. I don't
Yeah.
remember what her name
The
is.
blonde was
though.
the one who dated Jim J. Bullock, right? Because she was dumb
They
and he was
dated?
dumb.
No.
On the show, wasn't
No,
it?
they
Her
didn't
boyfriend?
date.
No.
No, they
He
didn't
was
date.
definitely gay
He
on the
did. He was their
show.
friend.
Oh, okay.
He never
I
had
guess I
any
always thought
girlfriends
maybe-
or guy friends. I don't think.
Oh,
Yeah, they didn't have.
okay.
Any.
But I
They
don't
just
think-
showed him.
I don't-
I think they showed him as he was just their friend, and he wasn't gay. I don't think in the show.
Obviously not in the 80s. You're not
Yeah.
going to have a
Okay.
gay character. But
Especially
I think it was,
with the way Ted Knight was, he
took
wouldn't,
place
have,
in-
he wouldn't have accepted him in
it
his
took
house
place in
probably
San
at that time.
Francisco. I think they were just like,
Oh.
you all get it.
You have to
We're
get
not
it.
going to
Okay.
say it. but-
Yeah.
They're in like the same kind of house as Full House.
Yeah, it's
You
like
see,
a-
those houses. Yeah.
I don't remember it in
Duplex.
that detail, but yeah.
Because the kids live
Downstairs.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just remember them having a very funky couch because Ted Knight sits on it and he rolls over backwards because it's
It's like
like,
a
the
futon.
back.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
weird.
back, yeah.
So it's just, and he goes,
I remember
and he
the
gets
big
up
thing
in his
about that
hair.
was
He had that kind of hair where it would like stay in place if it was out of place,
Oh,
but it would
yeah.
stay in place, out of place.
he was a cartoonist on that.
Yeah.
And he wore the
He wore the cow,
Cosmic Cow, yeah.
He used that to draw, and the thing about him, Ted Knight, was he wore a different college sweatshirt
Yeah, each
in every
episode.
single episode
Really?
because people sent them to him.
Yeah,
Just like, hey, go to Michigan, wear a sweatshirt.
You see him
I go
wearing
to
a Texas
Florida.
A&M
Yeah,
shirt
yeah.
or whatever.
Interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
That was where I first knew Ted Knight. I knew him from Too Close for Comfort before Caddyshack.
Caddyshack,
and
yeah.
I never saw Mary
Mary
Tyler
Tyler
Moore
Moore,
or
yep.
that stuff before. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
that was early 80s, Too
Yep.
Close for
Yeah.
Too Close for Comfort.
And
I was
Caddyshack
watching
was
that.
80s, so that.
But I wasn't
yeah.
watching that then because I was too young.
Yep. Ed Price was played by Richard Lawson.
Oh, I didn't know some things about him.
Wait, which one's Ed Price?
He's Ryan from Poltergeist.
Yes, but I know better things about
the
him.
cop. He's also
He-
Ben from V.
Oh, really?
Nice, another V.
The guy, the blind jazz player from last week,
Yeah.
from All of Me. That was his father.
All of me. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot we saw.
His father was in All of Me, so we've done back-to-back Family V members
Okay.
Nice.
Well, his father on the show on V or in real life?
on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
He, in real life, from 2015 to just last year, he was married to Beyonce's mom.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Really?
And his daughter is Bianca Lawson, who I love. She didn't star in Buffy, but she had a very important role in a couple episodes of Buffy. She played Kendra back in like 98. High school student. 20 years later, she starred in Pretty Little Liars, still playing a high school student.
her.
She
Shit.
still looks like she is my age and has always looked like a high school student. So she's always been playing like high school
Good for
roles.
her.
Are
Yeah,
we allowed
I
to say
love
black
her.
don't crack on here? Like,
Yeah, well, it's a compliment in this
You're the
case. So
editor.
yeah,
I'll
it's
leave
you.
that in.
But yeah, I love his daughter, and I knew him from Poltergeist. And until today, when I was like, "Oh, why do I know him?" and I went and looked it up, and then I saw his name, and it said
Said he just got
it
divorced.
showed in his picture was him and Bianca, and I was like, "Wait, tell me he's not married to her?" And then I realized that was his daughter, and then I saw that he was married to Tina Knowles, and I was like, "No fucking way, that's Beyonce's
No,
mom."
obviously he's not Beyonce's dad.
No,
Okay.
her dad and mom divorced years ago.
Yeah.
But,
He was just like, I'm gonna
He's
get some.
Beyonce's
I'm gonna get some
stepdad.
Beyonce money.
Yeah.
That's a fun story.
Like, do you think like he gets alimony from Beyonce? Like, hey, I'm divorcing your
Well,
mom.
you know,
Pay
her
me.
Beyonce's mom was in charge of their wardrobe since Destiny's Child, like day one. So she's part of
Yeah, so
that.
she's
and
got
probably
from
like
it,
got
yeah.
salary
paid.
from
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I
Depending
need.
on what he did, he might have got some money off of that. Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
my kids to become famous, not just become their driver or something.
Or
like
they
that.
can marry-
Pay
marry
me
into-
$200,000 a year to
They
drive
could
your
marry
car.
into money too.
That'd be nice too.
Yeah.
'Cause then they don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
And my kids are obviously built to do nothing, so that'd be easy for them.
Well, how's the cooking coming along?
oh yeah, dude,
Right?
he's gonna be on Bobby Flay tomorrow, and
But I know
Awesome.
he's supposed to be graduating.
he graduated.
Yeah.
He graduated the other day. Yeah,
Nice.
Good for him, man.
So now all he does is work more. So
Yeah. Well, at least he's working in a
It's
restaurant.
something that he
so-
wanted to do, right?
He
Yeah.
did. He did.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of him. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but
Richard Lawson was also in How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
Yeah.
was he the one that hooked up with?
I don't know.
No. No. Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett,
No,
thank
it
you.
was a very young.
And he was
man.
also-
Oh yeah,
Fucked up.
right, of course.
His
yeah,
top
that makes
4 is
sense.
rounded off with 4 Colored Girls. I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was, I believe, a TV
FOR?
show.
FOR, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so only 4 colored girls.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
You're not allowed to watch it. It's not for you.
If I say that, you have to star off one of the O's. I can't say colored like that. That sounds. If I'm saying it, I sound like a racist.
Up next, playing Clyde. Oh, excuse me. Playing Officer Cooley was Rick Rossovich.
So that was the other cop. That was
He was
lack of a better
Slider
term,
from
white
Top
cop.
Gun.
All right. He was also Kevin.
Matt in the Terminator.
Yes.
And he was in Roxanne.
Yes.
The Steve Martin movie.
And he's also in and Out with Kevin Kline. He is Kevin Kline's brother.
Okay. I don't
Great
think I've
movie.
seen that.
All-time great movie. Tom Selleck.
Navy SEALs he's also in. Up next after that was Clyde, played by Bill Paxton.
This is the third time we've seen him in a
Bit part movie.
The second
or not
time
a-
with
And he
he
looks
had
still
that
young. He
gap.
looks really
Teeth are
young.
banged up in this
But
one, yeah.
did he have a fake gap?
I don't know, because he says I got
because
in
something
a
else
fight
we
last
saw.
night. He said, I got beat up defending your ex-girlfriend last night.
Yeah,
Or whatever he
but
says.
something else we saw him in. He had that same gap, and I
Well,
don't
we've
know
seen
if
him
it
in
was
a lot, a few
Yeah.
movies recently, yeah.
because
So-
he was in Terminator 2,
Terminator.
or the
He
first
did
one.
Terminator,
First
yeah.
one.
Yeah, and I think he played a punk, like he's playing here, kind of.
He's famously the only person ever to
Yeah.
be killed by a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator, because he gets killed in Terminator,
That's like a...
Aliens,
yeah.
and Predator 2. But yeah, he's in that. We did Mortuary with him.
Yep.
Yeah, he was great in
And,
Mortuary.
yeah. I think this is the first time we had Zach on. I'll be seeing Zach on Friday at Friday
that's
the
right.
13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. The late Bill Paxton.
Top 4 Aliens, Frailty, Apollo 13, and Twister.
Frailty.
Twister's in there now, I think, because everybody's looking it
Yeah,
up for
probably.
Twisters, probably.
But what's frailty? Like, what is that even? Like, how's that in there?
I'm
Why is
surprised
Weird Science not in
Tombstone,
there?
yeah, or Weird Science or something.
Cover yourself for God's sakes. Christ's sake, sorry. Cover yourself for Christ's sake.
Playing Greer was Lee Ving. My buddy Lee Ving.
Yeah,
I
he
thought
is.
he looked like
I met Lee Ving.
Wish version of just in this. I thought he looked like a different version of Bill Murray for some reason.
okay.
Every time I looked at him, I
I
was
didn't,
like, "Looks
I
like
didn't
Bill
see
Murray."
that. I guess because I know I love Lee Ving, so obviously Flashdance, Clue, he was Mr. Body,
That awful movie I hated.
Repo
Wait, he's
Man,
in-
he was a soundtrack, Let's Have a War,
Oh, right. Yeah, but he's,
and he was on the soundtrack for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
but he's not in it. He's just
No,
in the
the soundtrack,
But he's
yeah.
also in Flashdance?
Yeah.
He's in that movie?
He's in that
I've never
movie,
seen
yeah.
Flashdance, so.
That's one of his biggest checks.
roles?
Yeah, biggest
Okay.
roles, yeah.
We saw him last year in concert.
Yeah, he's still. And he's
I
still
listened
playing.
to that
He's
album.
74 years old, still playing.
I gave his album a listen, and it was horrible.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's just not. If you don't like that kind of
Yeah.
music, I mean,
The lyrics were horrible. That's all. I was listening, like paying attention to the lyrics. I was like, "This is really dumb."
what was the song?
I don't know. One of them might have been about beer.
Oh,
And
yeah, a lot
another
of songs
one
about
was
beer.
like,
More beer.
yeah, it might have been more beer. Like, and then another one was just talking. I don't know if it was like talking really bad
there's one
about
song that says,
women.
everybody needs to believe in something. I believe I'll have another beer.
Yeah, I was just like, this isn't. No.
I don't think punk music's for you.
No.
The Fear,
Somehow I think that's
Fear
for
the
young
Record
men.
is the perfect album, I think.
It's a great
if you
album.
ask me. Stoney Jackson playing Bird in the Sorrells. That was the band.
Oh, the
Oh,
bus that they
yeah.
hijacked. Okay.
So we had Stoney Jackson played Bird, Grand L. Bush played Reggie, McKelty Williamson played BJ, and Robert Townsend played Lester.
Damn, I didn't see Robert Townsend in that. Okay.
From Hollywood Shuffle,
Yeah,
The Meteor
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
The Mighty Quinn, and 17 of 90 episodes of Parenthood.
Yeah, Robert Townsend was in the early 90s. He was really
Yeah, he was a producer.
look
He
him up. I don't
produced
know
a
what he
lot of
looks like.
movies.
doing
stuff, too, yeah.
stand up too and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. Hollywood Shuffle was a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
That was like a skit
I don't
type
know him.
movie.
Wasn't he in Harlem Nights, too?
Was he in Harlem Nights?
I believe he
With
was, yeah.
Everybody else, Eddie Murphy and Red Fox
Yeah.
and Richard Pryor. But yeah, Hollywood Shuffle was a great movie.
Elizabeth Daly playing Baby Doll. Again, hardly had any role in this, really. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Valley Girl, we saw her in that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
She's in 37 of 46 episodes of the Rugrats. And she's the voice of Buttercup on the Powerpuff Girls for 78 of 79 episodes.
Is she Angelica's voice on Rugrats? I don't even know who
that
she is.
I don't know.
I never.
I don't
my
know
kids never
Rugrats,
watched Rugrats. And why wasn't she all the episodes of
I don't know.
Powerpuff Girl? They had to get someone else for
Buttercup
one.
might
of
not
those
have been.
episodes.
Maybe she left one episode. I don't know.
They did a Blossom heavy episode, that one.
Then we got
yeah, she all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere, and I didn't even recognize her. I just recognized her voice. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Dottie.
Hey. Yeah.
I was like, look at Dottie. And I mean, like, obviously she's a terrible actress also, and very bad in this.
But you recognize her every time.
Sure.
He's like that voice, you know. Ed Begley Jr. playing Ben Gunn.
Yeah, I saw his name in the credits. I'm like, shit, Ed Bailey Jr. was in this. I didn't see him at all.
He really surprised me when he just popped up out of
it was
like.
very.
Where was he? Like, at what part?
He was just like in. Oh, he was the guy who was like, "You're dumb and short." He was like, "You're dumb and short,
Yeah.
really short." That cracked me up. He was like, he came out from behind like a dumpster when they first got to the place, and Michael or Tom was like, give him the money because he told him, oh, he's upstairs, and then Rick's like, I knew he was upstairs. You know, whatever they were fighting about. You don't remember that part? He was
maybe
dirty.
You might have dozed
He was
off.
covered in
I didn't
dirt.
doze-
He looked
I
like
did
a
not
homeless
doze off.
guy. Dressed
I
up
don't
like a
remember seeing
homeless
that
man.
vaguely, though.
Damn. He had a whole.
I will be honest. I
He
had to
had a whole
rewind.
scene.
I had to rewind like the last
'Cause you
10 minutes
dozed
of
off?
this movie three
he
times.
was probably about a half hour
Because
from
you
the
dozed
end.
off?
Yeah, because I kept like.
It's when the three of them first went to go get her, and then they pulled up to the what's that
Okay.
place called? Trenchies. What was the name of that bar? Trenchies.
Something like that. Yeah, I have it in here. I forget.
Torchies.
Torchies sounds more right, I think. I had it somewhere in here.
They didn't do a good job of like protecting her, the bad guys. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she had no problem going right in there, and
Yeah.
I mean McCoy, right? That McCoy's the girl. Like she was
Yes.
also, 1984. She was gay. We just had it. We
Yes.
couldn't say she was gay. She said,
She just
"You're
kept
not
saying,
my
"You're
type.
not my type."
You're not my type." Like,
Yeah.
gotcha. I know what
Yes.
you mean.
We all know what you mean.
Every time she said it, I was like, "Oh my god." They should have showed her like in Diane Lane Drive Away at the end. I would have been
can't
like,
find
"There
the
we
scene
go,
with
nice."
I was looking for him, but I couldn't find a scene with him in it.
With it vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
All
When I
his-
saw his name in the
His
credits, I
top
was like,
four
"Wait,
is all
saying elsewhere."
no Mighty Wind, Best in Show,
Christopher Guest movies.
Pineapple Express,
What
and
was it
whatever
that we
works.
saw him in recently? Because we watched.
We've
He's
seen him in a
Spinal
few
Tap.
things. Yeah, this is Spinal
Okay,
Tap.
maybe that's
He
what
might
it
have been in
was.
something else too, as a small role.
Okay.
He was. Do you watch Better Call Saul?
Yes.
He was in Better Call
he was
Saul
in
for a
that.
little while.
But I knew he was in one of the movies we did.
Then I had
It
a
must have been that
couple
Spinal Tap.
people uncredited. Chuck Zito.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was he was one of the Bombers gang members.
Okay.
Who's Chuck Zito?
He was on Howard Stern a lot. He was
Oh.
a
he was a fighter,
yeah.
and then he
was
but
he
he's
like
also
a
ties to the
Guardian Angels or one of those things, right?
not the Guardian Angels. That's the ones that wear those red hats. Are you
Yeah,
thinking
but-
of
Ah, shit, man. I knew
Hell's
Chuck-
Angels?
Was he a Hell's Angel? Was that what he
He
was?
might have been a
Maybe.
biker. Yeah.
He was on Howard Stern all the time back in
But
the
he's
day.
been in movies and stuff too. But he's also been a fighter, I think, too. I'm
Okay.
not sure if he's been. But also a concert goer was Kathy Griffin.
Oh,
Jeez,
really?
I did not see
I gotta
her.
go
I
back
didn't- I
and
didn't
try to
see
look
her.
for
I'm glad I
her.
didn't see her.
Yeah.
I hate her.
I don't
Yeah.
like her
She's
either.
still
yeah.
would have wanted to see
Talentless
her.
hack.
But I'm going to start off with this. Michael Paré had problems with Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis drove me out of my mind. There's this whole wave of insult comedy. In the real world, if someone insults you a couple of times, you can smack them or punch them. You can't do that on a movie set. And these comedians walk around and they can say whatever they want. I'm just not that handy with that. Comedians are a special breed. They can antagonize you and say whatever they want, and you can't do anything to stop them. He's this weird-looking little guy who couldn't get laid in a whorehouse with a fistful of 50s. He would imitate me. The first thing he says to me is, "Do you just act cool, or are you really cool?" That was the first sentence out of his mouth to me in Joel Silver's office, and I was like, "Oh, this is not going to go well." But he was one of Joel's dear friends, and he ended up making a bunch of movies for Disney. I just wasn't that sharp. I wasn't ready for that kind of crap. Michael Paré couldn't take
Wow.
Rick Moranis.
It's funny because Rick Moranis in this movie is
A dick.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, I've always everything he's in, even when he's Dark Helmet, you're like, cool. Like you're so good.
Yep.
But not in this. He was
And it's
a
Torchies.
jerk off in this.
You were right.
Torchies?
Yep. I found where the Torchies bar dancer was Jennifer Beals' dance double in Flashdance.
Oh,
I
wow.
had they show her dancing like 4 times. And I was like, is that a guy? Is that a girl? I mean, like, she was wearing like a G-string. So I was like, there's no butt. There's no bulge there. I'm thinking that's
it was like flat.
I'm thinking that's a woman, but I'm not. She had a really short haircut, but at one point her, I guess her top goes up. I was like, oh, she got boobs. I guess
they tried to get the Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen song "Streets of Fire," but they couldn't get it.
Oh.
Yeah. Jimmy Iovine did the music. I saw he's big with Interscope, I believe, Interscope Records for a while there.
I gotta tell you, this movie has at least 3 5-minute long music montage, almost like videos. It starts off with one. They don't even get to the credits till 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, so it's very long.
Why'd they play the credits over her singing that song
for
at
a
the beginning?
91-minute movie? You got the credits almost
There's way too much music in this, and then it ends
they tried to make it an rock opera is what they wanted to do.
Well, then they should have had more music in the middle.
That's why I think you got to bring those songs to shorter.
And
they're longer. I mean, put the full song on the album, but shorter in the song. But then you play more songs.
But it's also like usually the actors are singing as they're doing their acting.
Sure,
not just a band on stage. Like that's different.
Well, I guess because she was in the band. I guess that's supposed to be like. But like you said, it's like a video almost.
Do we know if she was singing or lip syncing to somebody?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she has a singing voice.
Because the voice kind of. There was one part she was singing some song, and I thought it sounded a little like Bonnie Tyler.
Interesting. She got that raspy.
Yeah, it was a little raspy.
Like Bonnie Tyler's voice.
This movie ends like 25 minutes before the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like there's the fight with the sledgehammers. Is that what they had? It's not sledgehammers. The
I would call them mini, they were like sledges. They were mini sledgehammers. Yeah.
And then it ends. Willem Dafoe gets knocked down, and they drag him away. And I wasn't quite sure. Like, is he still in the gang? Because you lose. You're the leader, and you lose. You should be not part of the gang anymore, but they seem to protect him and bring him with them. But then there's like 2 songs back to back. The Robert Townsend band, I forgot the name of them, but they play a song, and then Diane Lane plays a song. I'm like, good God, that's when I kept falling asleep. I was like, and I kept rewinding. I'm like, did I miss something? I'm like, nope, they're just playing music. I was like, okay.
The name Torches is also seen in 48 Hours, it says.
Oh, is that the bar that Eddie Murphy goes into when he's like...
It might be.
When he's harassing all the rednecks in that bar, which is like the best scene in 48 Hours.
All right, let's see what I got here.
I really, this is one of those movies where I didn't take a lot of notes because I felt the same thing kept happening. Like, I couldn't just keep saying terrible acting. Like, the scene's annoying me because no one can act, because I kept thinking that, but how many times can you say that?
The one part which I was shocked was when they were on the train and he wanted to get off and he just punched her in the face.
Knocked her unconscious.
That was not.
She said, "You're the guy with the right hook."
That is one of my notes.
Yeah.
I said, did he just knock Diane Lane out?
I was like,
I rewound it. I was like, did that really just happen?
I did too. I was like, that's not cute. That's not romantic. That's not great.
Not anything.
That was assault. Like he could have gotten out of that train without her. Like he could have pushed her back.
He could have hurt her. He could have killed her.
Give her a concussion.
And not only that, the next day when they're at the concert, her face is perfect. It should have been swollen. It should have been black and blue. It should have been her eyes should have been shut.
This movie had crazy. A weird what's the word? Like aesthetic to it. Like everything was 50s. All the cars like they were from the 50s. They did a good job with the 50s the hair
cars
like they were from the 50s.
And the outfits.
I was gonna say they also dressed like almost like 80s with the neon and stuff 50s. Like that. So I guess that's why it was another time, another place. It wasn't really America or the 1950s or 80s. It was just another
like
time and
the
a place.
fashion was a little.
You see Fonzie 50s. Come out and ride with the bombers.
Totally, yeah. And every car and motorcycle was from the 50s, and
I think his was like a 1951.
If they could put like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away at the beginning of this, they should have done that. And okay.
The car that Cody drives in the movie is a 1951 Mercury that was chopped, channeled, nosed, and decked. But in addition, 12 1950 and 1951 model Studebakers were used as police cars.
I really felt like this movie, like it looked great and cheap at the same time. I was like, man, they were all under the L rail in Chicago. Everything was filmed under that. You could tell they were in Chicago, and everything was just filmed there. And the cars looked cool, but it also looked grimy and kind of just like. So there's a part of it where I was like, I get what they're going for. They just didn't get what they were like. It was almost like if they had done it 10 years later and they had a bigger budget, they would have been able to much more do what they wanted to do.
I got Elizabeth Daly said that it was a very frustrating thing for her to not sing in the film because Diane Lane was singing, and I remember thinking, it was so frustrating for me. It was painful because I wanted to be on that stage singing with those guys. But back then I always played those quirky characters. I didn't get those fancy leads. I got those best friend of the leads, quirky, funny characters, hookers with a heart of gold, weirdos. I liked my roles. I just wanted to be singing too.
She was on The Voice.
I remember you saying
years
that.
Back,
yeah.
She's fucking Dottie. That's it. Sorry, you'll always be Dottie.
She wasn't she in
Valley Girl.
Yeah, but wasn't she in the other one that we like too? Last American Virgin.
Is she in that too? She might be.
She was in that too, I think, right?
She might be. I don't remember now, but
I gotta look. Keep talking.
McCoy, the girl, the woman that wasn't into Tom. Is that his name? Tom. She smoked at 3 different times in this movie. You saw her smoking a cigarette where she was smoking the filter. Like she had that cigarette all the way. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I smoked a long time. I never smoked the filters. Yeah, because that's a gross taste. And you see her do that multiple times.
Like when you accidentally pull a cigarette out the wrong way and you weren't looking and you lit the filter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Nah, she's not in it. Sorry. I thought she was.
There was only one song in the whole movie that I knew.
And that's Dan Hartman.
Yeah, it was I Could Dream About You.
I Can Dream
Which I didn't know was
you.
from this movie. Or maybe it wasn't. Was that
I got the soundtrack right here. It was mostly Fire Incorporated, the Ry Cooder Band, Laurie Sargent, written by Tom Petty. Stevie Nicks song, written by Stevie Nicks, but sung by Laurie Sargent. Ry Cooder is basically through like 5 or 6 songs.
I guess I was just wondering, but when they started playing I Can Dream About You, I was like, oh, I know the song.
The
Is
Fix, Deeper and Deeper by the Fix. I knew that song. That was on the credits, I think.
I was just wondering if the song was made for this movie or did they just take a popular song at the time and put it in there?
It's, I don't know, but it was, I think this is when it got famous for being in that movie.
Yeah, I think a movie that's supposed to be a rock and roll fable or whatever they build themselves at had to have better music in it.
Yeah.
Like the music was not good enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this is all about rock and roll.
Yeah, no.
Like, and if you want to be the 50s or the 80s, pick one and choose and just make all the music of that era. And I don't know, like from the beginning when the movie starts off, she's on stage singing before she gets kidnapped. I was like, as the song kept going on and I'm like, oh man, I don't like this song, and I was like, I'm already checked out. And then they didn't even do the credits.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well,
it's the same at the end. You had to listen to a whole song before the end credits finally came on.
Yeah, so the title card appears within the first 30 seconds. Cast and crew credits don't begin until the 9:27 mark.
Too long into this movie. This movie, like, I have mixed feelings on this because, like I said, like it looked kind of cool. Like I could see what they were going for, but every actor sucked, and it was just kind of like, the plot is ridiculous too. I mean, the plot is that girl got kidnapped, and they go and take her back, and then there's a street fight. That is it. That is the entire plot of this movie. And at one point, I was like, is anything going to really happen here? Because I don't even know why he went after her. I mean, I guess he was getting paid his $10,000, which in 1950s or 1980s,
that's a lot of money.
He threw it on the ground. He said, "Here's $1,000." Then I was going to give to
McCoy.
Rick Moranis said he was unhappy making this film because he wasn't allowed to improvise. They wouldn't let him improvise. So
yeah, I can see him being like annoyed by that because you turn the camera on and he could probably do that kind of stuff.
Get some things funnier than what's written. Yeah,
and I liked the end. He didn't end up with the girl. Tom didn't end up with the girl. I was like, I'm like, that's good that he left and
he said, "I'll be here if you need me."
Do you think she stayed with Rick Moranis?
I can't imagine why. Like, is she only after her career? And she's like, this guy can help my career? And I mean, that's pretty shitty, right?
Yeah.
You need a sequel, don't you?
I think I just saw something. I think they had either planned one or tried one.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
It said more than 50 motorcycles and their drivers were featured as the bombers and were chosen from 200 members of real LA-based clubs like the Crusaders and the Heathens.
Nice.
And it said part of McCoy was originally written to be a Hispanic male named Mendez, and Edward James Olmos was being considered to play the part.
Love him.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool that they got her to play that part because I thought she was, like I said, she was the best part of the movie. Every time she was talking, I was like, all right, I like you, but
Yeah.
I don't like anybody else. I didn't even like Rick Moranis, who I love. And in this, I was kind of
There
like,
is a sequel,
Yeah, oh, this is it really?
and Michael
Paré, isn't it? What
is
year?
in it. 2008.
Wow.
It's called Road to Hell.
No rush. We'll just wait 30 years.
A soldier who has been fighting a long time in a war, which he was a
He
soldier,
said
right?
he was a soldier.
Is driven mad because he no longer believes in any purpose.
Who else is in it? Anybody from this?
Let's see.
The great Lee Ving was in it.
Or Willem Dafoe. He's like, I'm making a
Oh
cameo
my
in
God,
this.
Claire Kramer's in it. I love her.
Who's she?
She's from Buffy. She was also in Bring It On.
She was also
was she in Bring It
She
On?
was one of the cheerleaders that was like that hated Torrance and
Oh, one of the
Claire
two
Kramer.
girls.
She's on Doug Love's
she's the
movies.
one who's the guy when she would go up in the air and a guy would put his thumb in.
Yep.
She's a Doug Love movies.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I love her. Deborah, his sister, the girl who played his sister, was in it.
Oh, Jackie.
Yeah.
Deborah Van Valkenburg. Love her.
And then everybody else in the cast doesn't have a picture.
That can't be good.
That's never good.
Was that a made-for-TV movie?
It might
or
have been.
something like that?
Yeah. I wonder what that is on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's 2008, so that's pre-Netflix.
Can you
That might
check
have
Rotten
just been like
Tomatoes?
direct-to-video.
Well, it's got a 5 on IMDb.
Out of 100? Maybe
So let's
5
see.
out of 10,
Yeah.
on IMDb. So it's probably going to be.
Let's see.
I'm going to say that critics have no score, and it's lower than 50 for the audience.
All right, let's see. Not a single.
Wow.
Oh, this is a 2. Yeah, it's not even coming up because there's apparently a lot of movies called Road to Hell.
Put the year in, too.
That's a good idea. Okay. But I kind of want to see it now.
It was originally rated R, but was edited to get a universal PG rating. The film was screened for exhibitors as an R, and among the trims reported a number of F words.
Oh.
And Maureen Jahan removing her top during her dance.
I guess that's the girl that I couldn't tell if it was a guy or a girl.
Oh, yeah,
and a
yeah.
different ending with the credits rolling over Ellen's final number.
That
They
might
should
have been
have
a little
done it.
better. But then the movie would have
Yes.
been like 80 minutes long. And it'd been like, it's just a TV movie. I think that one of the bigger problems I had with this movie was there was a lot of air quote violence in this. You never saw any connection of a punch or a, except for maybe when Diane Lane got knocked the
That was
fuck
the only
out.
punch that
But,
you really see,
but
yeah.
there's a lot of like, he's swinging the club or what the fuck?
The pickaxe.
Axe.
Yeah.
What's
The
sledgehammer. He's swinging the sledgehammer, and you just see like Willem Dafoe go like react to it, and then it hits the ground. You never see
Yeah.
them. It's as if like they weren't even in the same room when they were filming their scenes, and there's never any kind of
Yeah.
real violence, like body violence in this. It was all very edited down, which I think really hurt this movie.
Daryl
Yeah.
Hannah was pursued as the female lead, but she opted to do
Splash?
instead. Yes.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah, very. I mean, that made her career.
Yeah. Imagine you take this and you see somebody else play your role in Splash, and you're like, damn, that could have been me, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many of those stories of a person not taking a role in.
What was the band's name? The
Her
band from the
band's, like,
bus.
the,
no, the bus band.
Oh, I don't
The
know.
Sorrells.
The Sorrells. They moonwalked at one point.
They
in
did.
their
And I thought about
performance.
that. I was like, is this pre-thriller?
That's what I was like, did he moonwalk? I thought he moonwalked in like the later 80s, like 87 or something.
No,
no.
Michael Jackson was moonwalking
That was
early
the-
83,
that was the-
It was
84,
early.
probably,
Well,
yeah.
That was like the
okay.
25th anniversary of Motown. So it was like 83 or it's he
so
was going
then-
Billie
I
Jean.
believe
Yeah. Then a year later they
Thriller
were.
came out 84, right?
83
83 or 84,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, they capitalized on that with a little moonwalk.
Yeah, but I saw that as soon as I saw that, I'm like, did they invent this? I'm like, oh no, Thriller must have already come out by this
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I don't know. This movie kind of just like, I was a little disappointed.
the opening title cards read Another Time, Another Place.
Yeah.
Diane was 19.
Oh,
Okay.
Diane Lane was 19 during this movie, yeah. I don't have any more.
Yeah, I really, I don't either. I really kind of was thinking I like this more than when I saw it. I guess this is one of those movies that doesn't stand the test of time. So,
Jackie Rush in Too Close for Comfort.
Jackie Rush, right? The Rushes, yeah. Okay.
All right, we want to get into some scores. Who's going to
Sure.
go first?
I will.
Okay.
I didn't hate this movie. I had fun watching it. I didn't, obviously the acting was bad, but I still I don't know, I still kind of enjoyed it. I gave it a 75.
I think that there's a movie here that could be made. Like, I almost want them to remake this movie and make it right. And I really, like I
With
said,
the same cast.
No. Cast actors, cast real actors. I really feel there was something there, and they just missed it every time they wanted to do something. It was just like, Like, first of all the music, terrible, and then too much of it. So I will never watch this again. I gave it a 60, but I if you remade it, I might go see it in the theater just because I think there's something there.
I remember seeing this as a kid. I don't think I remember it much from when I watched it as a kid. I don't need to see it again. I had a good time watching it this time. Not the greatest time. I give it a 70. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
Critics and audience were pretty much the same too. 71 for critics, 70 for audience. So,
Okay.
but yeah, pretty much the same. I don't really need to see it again. But if there was a remake, I think I would.
Someone buzzing?
I would.
I was like in my headphones. I'm like, what do I hear? What do I hear?
I would welcome a remake. I would watch
I think this is a movie that could benefit from that. And like I said, Sin City kind of, I feel, stole this aesthetic, even though that's based on a comic and
it's your turn to pick
was in black and white.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
can't put me on the spot.
That's for a while now. We're going to start
start the horror, right? But do we have our guests lined up? That's the problem. We have to make sure we get our guests lined up. Who's going to be the first one?
We can talk to some people. I know some people.
Okay.
I know some people.
I got some people.
We talked to Brian Mack the other day about Children of the Corn, I think, and we already have.
And then we got Doug for Night of the Comet.
Right. We already have Nightmare done. So we can start.
We got
next
Toxic
year
Avenger to do
with Mike. Yep. So we're good. We have people lined up. We just have to get them in here.
All right. Yeah, because we haven't had a guest in a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's been since
Adrian,
but we haven't even played her episode yet. We'll be playing that next week.
All right, check us out over there on Spreaker. Download, rate, subscribe, review, do all those fun things. The exciting and new podcast on all of our socials. The Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74 on X. This has been the exciting and new podcast. I am Jason.
AEGonzo1 on Twitter, AEGonzo1970 on Instagram. I'm Andy. I'm going to play bingo.
Dana Caps on TikTok, Dana Caps 77 on Instagram. I'm Dana.
I'm not going to play bingo.
I am not going to play bingo either.
Is it written there?
Yeah.
Do you write it down every time?
Yeah, it's just
time.
the template. I delete the previous movie, but keep
Oh,
the.
really?
Why don't you just see that as its own note?
It is. It's right there.
But you don't have to leave it. Just leave it in there and just go in every time.